Hello, everybody, and welcome to Premier Chess Adult Beginner Fall 2020. This is week 12, and we're going to be continuing our study of the games and puzzles from the Queen's Gambit Netflix series because they're just too interesting not to. All right. So, yes, this is part 3 analysis of Queen's Gambit. All right, so let's get right into it. So this next game is between Giev and Harman. This is the scene in the movie. Hanya made it. Excellent. So this is the scene in the series where she's playing the child prodigy in a big professional tournament. I don't know if you guys remember that scene, but hey, Hanya, welcome. So yeah, so she's playing little kid Giev, and I remember listening to an analysis of the series, and I don't know if it was with the director of the series or one of the actors, but they were saying it was an interesting juxtaposition of characters because throughout the whole series, Beth Harmon was the main protagonist and the main chess prodigy, and then all of a sudden she's put into a game against a much younger player who's also a child prodigy. So they said they wanted to kind of explore that and make her character feel uneasy, which she did. And I don't know if you remember, but she the way she was looking at him, like she was trying to intimidate him, because so maybe she did. The actress wanted to make Beth Harmon seem like she was intimidated by this little boy, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so Giev is white and Harmon is black. Oh, by the way, this is also a real game played by two top-level grandmasters. Yakovenko is white, Stellwagen is black. And I forget the exact tournament, but this is a real game. So, okay, so let's see how it went. So Harmon is black, yeah. So E4, C5. Anybody know the name of this opening?
Sicilian?
Sicilian defense. Yes, Sicilian. So yeah, E4, C5. This is one of the big main responses that black has to E4. A few other responses could be E5, could be D5. What would this be called? Anybody know? It's called the center counter game, or also called the Scandinavian defense. And usually, you take white takes a pawn, and then that forces black to bring out his queen too early, way too early. So it looks like it's really bad, and it kind of is. But if you play it correctly, the queen does reach safe haven. Maybe here, something like that, stuff like that, and the queen can come back, drop back to c7, and find refuge there. So not too scary for black, even though black is bringing out his queen way too early. So yeah, so this is so we'll talk about Sicilian defense now. So let's see how they went. E4, C5, knight F3, E6. I play this variation a lot as black because I always hate symmetrical openings. So I never respond with when somebody plays E4. I never respond with E5 because I hate symmetrical openings. So E4, C5, and I like this variation. A lot of people do D6, which is good too. I used to do that, but I kind of recently, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I started doing E6, and I like the positions that yields as well. So yeah, that's E6, D4, takes, knight C6, knight C3, D6. Okay, so another way to go about this from black's perspective is A6 followed by queen C7. And so the queen acts like so I mean these dark squares look like they're very weakened, right? But from c7, the queen kind of controls all these dark squares. So kind of everything kind of evens out, and it can be pretty comfortable positions for black. So yeah, so that's one way. So she went or he went d6. No, harmless black. Sorry, d6, bishop e3, knight f6, f4. Now there's a name for this one. I forget the name. Maybe call it something like the Richter-Rauser attack. So this is much more aggressive. You know, starting probably wants to start a pawn storm like that. Maybe move the queen up to d2, castle queenside, and maybe black will castle kingside. Right. So opposite sides castling usually leads to a pawn storm and pretty sharp tactical games. So yeah, so let's see what happens with that. So f4, f5. So yeah, so black immediately puts a stop to that. Wants to trade off some pieces. So yeah, so in this position, who do you think has more space and who's more cramped? What do you think, white or black? Who has more space?
Sicilian always seems cramped to me. I tried to play it years ago and always found myself boxed in.
As black, you always got yourself boxed in. You said, yeah. Yeah, so well in this position, for example, white definitely has more space, right? This bishop controls a lot of spaces. Knight exerts a lot of influence, right? This knight exerts a little bit. This knight exerts a little bit, but definitely white has more space. Also, black has a backward d pawn here, which you would like to get rid of eventually, with d5. And so yeah, so black's position is definitely more cramped. So if white took the pawn here, that would benefit black definitely, because again, whenever whoever's the cramped player wants to trade more pieces, right? It's just your position becomes much more tenable, much more comfortable when there's less pieces on the board. So knight takes c6 um would benefit black. For that reason, white chooses not to capture and goes back. Another possibility is perhaps knight bd5, exerting pressure here. And if you attack the knight, you drop it back, maybe bring it back here, bring this knight up here, something like that. That's other possibilities. Another possibility is what if he takes the pawn? I think that again would benefit black. Take, and now, I mean, you could trade queens here, maybe castle with check, but now after king c7, black's pretty comfortable, king's pretty comfortable. These bishops can be activated pretty quickly. This bishop can be activated anywhere here. Rooks can come into the game pretty quickly. So it's a comfortable position for black. So trading for that reason is not something that white wants to do, right? White wants to make sure that black stays cramped. For that reason, white does not trade. He goes back to f3. So knight g4, again, looking to trade, right? Wanting to trade off pieces. Knight g4, queen d2, knight takes, queen takes. Okay. So that was an interesting decision to take this pawn. Why? Because now look at this pawn. Now this pawn is a very big weakness, very big target, right? So this is an example of what would you call this pawn?
Isolated?
Isolated pawn, yeah. So this pawn has no other pawns on the side that can protect it. The only things that can protect it are pieces, right? So for that reason, this pawn is a big weakness. And after castle king side and knight b5, then you can really pile up pressure on this one pawn, and probably eventually win it. So yeah, so that was taking the pawn on f4 was a strange decision, but okay. So bishop e7, castle queenside, right? This rook has a beautiful half open file, pinning the pawn, putting pressure on the pawn. The fact that the rook is on the same line as the queen, so very nice position for white. Bishop e6, okay. Knight d5, okay, beautiful position for the knight as well. Nice outpost, castle, king b1. Yeah, that's usually a very good move in these kind of positions because, as you can see, the white queen and the king are on the same diagonal. So there could be some tricks with bishop coming here. So for that reason, it's usually a prudent decision to get your king off of that diagonal and move him over. So yeah. Also, the other thing that does is protect the a2 pawn, right? Because in queenside castling, the a2 pawn is left undefended, right? So king to b1 is just a good defensive move, pretty good, smart move usually. So rook c8, very nice developing move, getting the rook on the half open file, maybe ready to start an attack, right? So now immediately white starts an attack on black with g4, probably intending a nice pawn storm like that. So it's going to be a rush to attack each other. Let's see how this goes. So he trades, takes with the rook. Okay. Knight b4. So knight b4 is good, hitting the rook as well as hitting c2 simultaneously, right? So a pretty good move. Rook's forced to go back to d2. Queen comes to b6. And white continues the attack. g5. Okay. a3. Okay. Okay, continuing to pawn storm. So what is black threatening with rook a5? Why was that move played? Anybody see it?
Rook takes a3.
Yeah, rook takes a3. So the pawn is pinned, right? Pawn is pinned by the queen. So the a3 pawn is not protected. So yeah, threatening to win a pawn with rook takes a3. So white responds rook d3, defending the pawn. Okay, rook b5. Now attacking on b2. Queen c1. Queen drops back, increasing the pressure on the queen side. So as you can see in this position, in these kind of attacks where people, both sides are attacking each other's king, it's really the person who, it's like kind of like chicken, playing chicken. It's like you're both attacking each other, and whoever responds first to the other person's attack is usually the loser, right? So your goal is to like mount an attack and just throw him with everything you have until he responds. Because I don't know if I think I've said this to you guys in this class, where sometimes if you have a good attack going, the best thing that you can do is just don't respond to your opponent's attack, right? Because every response you do, especially if it's a pawn move, every pawn move is a weakness, right? So as much as possible, you don't want to respond to your opponent's threats, but sometimes you have to, right? And so here with rook, so here, as you can see in the last couple of moves, white has been responding to black's attacks, right? So rook a5, and white had to go rook d3. So he's pausing his own attack, and white has to respond to black. So white is playing defensively now. So basically, you can say black has the initiative, right? Rook b5, again, targeting the b2 pawn, and again, white has to pause his attack and go back and drop back to c1. So you can see black has the initiative here. So you can say white is losing the game of chicken. White is blinking. Whoever blinks first. All right, so bishop b. Okay. So yeah, so what do you think the purpose of g6 was? What do you think the purpose of that move was?
Will it maybe give the king a spot to move forward if he gets back ranked?
Okay, so eliminate eliminate the possibility of back rank mate, also called making left. Yeah, right. Having an escape square. Okay, what else is another reason for G6?
The bishop more room to move if it moves to G7.
Yeah. So what is this called when the bishop comes to the long diagonal? Anybody know? Remember the name of that?
Starts with an F.
Yeah, fianchetto or fianchetto. Anybody here speak Italian? Nobody? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard it said both ways, fianchetto or fianchetto. I don't know. I like the way fianchetto. My kids call it cheddar cheese. That's how that's how they remember it. So they're like, "Oh, that's cheddar cheese again." Oh yeah, now I remember. So bishop G7 is an excellent move because as you can see, this bishop is blocked in, especially before with G6. Like, look at this bishop. This bishop's doing absolutely nothing, right? So he's only got one square he can move. So with G6, that opens up a whole nother square and enormous diagonal. Now the bishop can come to life. So that's a very beautiful diagonal for the bishop, right? So excellent move. All right, so let's keep going. So rook B3. Okay, looks like it gives away a pawn. Okay. All right. So let's see. Why do you think Black didn't take this pawn? So this looks like a free pawn, right? Why do you think Black did not take that pawn? What do you think? So let's go back here. So after this move, yeah. So it's Black to move here. So Black could have taken this. It looks like a free pawn. Why didn't Black take that free pawn?
Shouldn't the real question be, why should Black take the pawn?
Yeah, well, my question is, well, Black didn't take the pawn. So my question is, why didn't Black take the pawn? What happens if, let's say
What
Black
happens if
let's say Black took the pawn. Now what can White do? Are there any good moves for White here? What do you think?
White can do a fork on the queen and bishop, and queen and knight.
yeah.
Oh, you mean with knight D5 or knight D4?
Right.
Okay. It's a possibility. Let's see. Is that good? So queen comes back. And now what do you got? Not much, right?
Yeah, not much.
Not much. I mean, you can trade. You know, what's he gonna do? You can take. Either one would be good. You know, something like that, or take with the pawn, and then bring the rook here and target the B pawn. So, or even maybe you can. Oh no, you can't do that. Okay, so what's another possible move that White can do in this position? What do you think?
Well, White could trade queens by moving the white queen to C2.
Yeah, that's true. You could do that. But that's not really like basically here White sacrificed his pawn. My question is, why did White sacrifice that pawn? What's the refutation, right? So if White just trade queen, if White went queen C2 to queen trade, then there's not really any attack or any reason why White just sacrificed a pawn. Now Black in this position could have something like this: discover, double check, king was over, take, and now Black wins another pawn, right? So what I'm looking at here is queen takes B3, maybe something like bishop C4, maybe attacking the queen, also attacking this pawn, which is only protected by the king. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. But still, it doesn't seem clear why White did that. I don't know. But okay. So White sacrificed that pawn, but Black did not capture. He went rook C7 instead. White went queen D1, protect the pawn. Bishop G7, right? Beautiful diagonal. Very nice. Bishop C4. Okay, so this is a very nice. This is a very nice position for the bishop, right? Defending the pawn as well as attacking this pawn and actually pinning the pawn to the king. So very nice position. Okay, knight d4 takes. Okay, so it didn't take. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so basically, white is saying you can take this pawn, and I'm going to take this pawn. So white wants to trade pawns, because with rook e7, now black is threatening this pawn twice, right? White's only defending once, but this pawn will be lost as well, right? Because white is attacking twice, and the rook will have to move. So, and white would love to trade this pawn. Why? Because his pawn is very isolated, right? All by itself, very weak. So white would love to trade that pawn. So does black trade it? Yes, he does. Bishop rook takes e4. Bishop takes f7 check. King h8. Okay, real quick. Why did black not do king f8? What would be the best move here for white? What do you think?
Bishop d5.
Bishop d5. Okay, so you have the right idea, but black can successfully parry that threat and save his rook. How? How can black? Yeah. So what Monty did was a discovered attack, right? Bishop to bishop d5, discovering an attack on the king, and then also simultaneously attacking the rook on e4. It's a good idea, but not strong enough. Why? What can black do here?
Can black capture the white bishop?
No, you can't capture bishop because you're in check.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. It's okay. So what can black do here? What do you think?
Black could move the bishop to f6 and block it. No,
No.
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 What did he lose it? Oh, right, that's there.
Yeah.
So you have the same situation. Okay.
Yeah. What's a better move? Better move. So so black is in check and his rook is being attacked, but he can save his rook. How?
So then move the rook to f4.
Yeah, rook to f4. Block the king, move the rook out of the way. Rook is safe, right? And black's okay. So what's a much better move than bishop d5 check? What do you think in this position?
I'm sorry, for white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of bishop d5 here, much better move for white. We're punishing king f8. You want a hint?
Is it rook f4?
Rook f4.
I'm sorry, I was moving for black. Never mind.
Yeah. White's move. Yeah. So black went king f8. Now it's white's move. We need a much better move than bishop d5. Much stronger move. What do you think?
Queen to b5.
Queen to b5. No, actually, because queen takes f2 and white is very safe, and there's no mate on queen e8 because rook is protecting, right? So no. Okay, what else?
Bishop to G8.
Bishop G8. Unnecessary sacrifice of the bishop.
No.
Yeah, you lose your bishop, and yeah, there's a better move, much better move. What do you think? You know, sometimes when I tell my students, like my child students, you know, what's the best move in this position, and then they give me every move except the correct one, and then they start giving every single move possible in this position, and then they go crazy. How about B4, A4, H5, King A2, King A1. They get mad when I say, you guys are giving me the every move except the correct move. So what do you guys think? You want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay, so the hint is it is a discovered check. It is a discovered check, but it's not bishop d5. It's a much better discovered check.
Oh, queen to b5.
No. Nancy just said that. Queen b5. Yeah, take the rook, and e8 is covered by the rook, so no mate.
Sorry, Nancy, I zoned out.
No.
That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So what else? Anything else?
Well, the bishop on f7 can take the pawn on g6.
Yes, bishop takes g6 is an awesome move. Very cool move. Why is that a cool move? That does so many things. So first of all, we're discovering an attack on the rook, on the king, and simultaneously attacking the rook. And what happens if black tries to save his rook by going rook f4? Why is that not possible?
Queen E8 checkmate.
Yeah, there's a mate right here. Queen e8. The rook vacates the e file, and now the queen has free reign to drop in on e8, deliver a checkmate with the beautiful assistance of the bishop. So bishop g6, bishop g6 is very nice because it does, I guess you can say, basically three things, which is beautiful for a move, right? Remember, I always say, whenever you move, try to accomplish multiple goals, right? So bishop g6 accomplishes a discovered attack on the king, number one. Attacks the rook on e4, number two. And if the rook goes, it's controlling e8 for a mate, number three. So bishop takes g6 accomplishes three goals. So very good move there. Okay, cool. So let's go back to the game. Bishop takes f7, king h8, queen c2, rook e1. Okay, king a2. Okay. Okay, trade. Now we're down to a rook and bishop endgame. Okay, so, and by the way, this is bishops of opposite colors. So what does that mean? Bishop of opposite color endgames. What usually happens in those kind of endgames? Any ideas? So bishop opposite color endgames typically ends in a draw, right? It's very drawish. Even if one side is up a pawn, it's very easy for the losing side to draw, even still, with correct play. So, although of course you can lose any position naturally, it's completely possible. I always tell people playing chess is like driving a car. You can drive perfectly for 10 hours, then you get distracted in 1 second and it's all over, right? So same thing with chess. You can play a excellent game of chess for the opening, for the middle game, for most of the end game, and then one slip up and game over for you. Right? So you can never really rest on your laurels. You have to always be vigilant about what your opponent's doing. Okay. So yeah, bishop opposite color endgames. So yeah, so material's equal, right? There's 5 pawns on both sides, so material's equal. So let's see how it went. Bishop d5. Okay. Yeah. So here, yeah, white had a nice threat with bishop d5. Actually, bishop d5 is accomplishing 2 different goals. What threats is bishop d5 accomplishing? You guys see that?
What threats bishop d5 are accomplishing?
Yeah, yeah. Why did white go bishop d5? There's 2 specific things I can see that white is threatening with bishop d5.
It can threaten the pawn.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Automatically threatening the unprotected b7 pawn. That's the first thing. What's the second thing? Not
It
as obvious.
prevents black from moving its king to g8.
Yeah. That does control g8. True. And okay, but has to do with that as well. The second reason, it's actually threatening mate in 2. You see it? Anybody see it? Nah. What do you guys? Where's the mate in 2?
If you move your rook to c7.
C7.
No.
If you go to c7, then it's not a check, right? So you're allowing black to do anything, basically, you know. So you don't want to give black that option. So it's got to be forceful. So we need forceful moves. What's a?
Then, are we putting it in check? Then it would be c8. And
Yeah, rook c8 check. King only has 1 move to king g7, and now checkmate in 1 move. Where is it?
Oh,
You see the checkmate in 1 move?
and this is assuming that the bishop remains where it is right now, and the rook is on c8, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so we went rook c8 check, right? King moves to g7, and now we need checkmate 1 move.
Rook to c7.
No, rook c7, and now the king can come back to f8 or back to h8. Right? So
Right.
where's the mate?
Pretty sure it's the white's bishop that moves up to like g8.
Well, if bishop moves to g8, that's not check.
That's not check. You're right.
Yeah, not check.
okay. I may have missed it, but what if we move the rook to g8?
Yeah, rook to g8 is mate. Very good. And the g5 pawn does a good job of blocking off f6 and h6. Yeah, very nice mate. So that mate did not work with the bishop on f7, because if he did it now it doesn't work because black's threatening the bishop, right? So it doesn't work. So all he does is he moves the bishop back to d5, far away from the king. Now the mating threat is real. So for that reason, black does h6, creating an escape square for the king. So no longer is a mate threat. All right. So now rook c8 check, king h7, rook c7, king h8. Okay. So now in this position, the real game between the top level grandmasters Yakovenko and Stellwagen, it went down one path, but in the Queen's Gambit series, they chose to make an improvement on the game, and so they came up with an improvement. on that in this position. So what do you think the best move is in this position? What do you guys think? This is white to move, right? So the last move was rook c8 check, and then king went back to h8. So now it's white's move. So what would you think best move here?
Move your H pawn to H5.
H pawn to H5. Wow, very nice move. So now what's the reasoning behind this move?
Well, either black will take your pawn or you take the black pawn on your next move. And then you move up one more and you're threatening the king, and the king can't capture the pawn.
Okay, so let's say I took black took on H5. Now what's the best move for white?
Advance your G pawn.
To what square?
Well, you can only advance it one square.
Okay, I just want to make
straight.
sure.
Oh, yeah, don't capture the black pawn.
So
just
G6.
G6, yes.
Yes, that's the correct answer. So now why? Why is that the correct answer? What is white threatening here?
Because now the king cannot move to H7 or F7.
Okay. So there's a specific threat right now. What is white threatening in this position? Anybody see it?
Become a whatever it wants. Like if it keeps going. No, wait a minute.
Oh, you mean promotion?
Yeah.
Not really threatening to promote. I guess yeah. No, actually, no, not threatening to promote, because black can always just sacrifice the bishop for the pawn. So not really threatening to promote, but white is threatening something very specific in this position. What is it?
Rook h7 checkmate.
Yeah, rook h7 checkmate right here. You see that? The bishop does a very nice job of blocking off g8, right? And the pawn does an excellent job of protecting the rook on h7. And so altogether, that results in a beautiful checkmate, which there's only one defense that black has against this mate, which is what? What's the defense?
Threaten the rook with its
Bishop to G7.
Yeah, bishop g7 is the only defense. Yeah, blocking the rook, right? Blocking the rook's path to h7. So now what do you think the best move is for white here in this position?
White's rook to c8.
Yeah, white rook to
Yeah.
c8. So this is you can say that black has kind of he set himself up for a back rank weakness, right? So now rook c8 is forcing black. He has only one move to escape check, which is bishop f8. So he has to sacrifice his entire bishop. Rook takes f8, king g7, and you can save this pawn. How do you? So now black is attacking the pawn and the rook. How do you save both? What do you think?
You'll want to put the king in check.
Where? What square?
G8.
G8, yeah, G8, very nice check. Through the king, also X-rays protection of the G6 pawn. So very nice. So king F6, maybe protect the pawn again, and maybe you can move your rook and just start gobbling up stuff. Yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, so that's very nice. That's very nice reason for H5. So H5 was actually the improvement that they came up with in this game, which is what was played in the series. Okay, so what happened in the series? So after h5, so no, he didn't take anything. He just moved rook e2. Now he's threatening on b2 to take there, and that would set up what's called a windmill pattern. Anybody know what a windmill pattern is in chess? Anybody heard of that term? Okay, cool. Maybe I did a lecture just on windmills. Windmills are fascinating. It's a fascinating concept. It's good to learn. It's basically a special type of discovered check where you're repeating the same position over and over again, and you know, like a windmill going over round and round and round, and while you're doing that, either um, you're either capturing more and more pieces, so increasing your material advantage, or increasing your positional advantage. So it's very advantageous for the person who's doing the windmill, right? And it's very annoying for the person who's the subject of the windmill. You feel like a toy, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah. Setting up a windmill. So say rook takes. So if let's say if white does a bad move, let's say white just went something like this, just a random move. So now the windmill is set up here. So rook takes b2. Just to give you an example of what the windmill is, rook takes b2. King only has one move. And now, what do you think best move is here for white, for black here? What do you think best move is here?
Shouldn't the black rook become more active and start attacking the king, the white king?
Okay, so what square? What square would you say?
Um, well, what if the black rook moved to c2?
Okay, you can go to c2, check, then the king goes to b1, and now how would you proceed?
Move the rook to c2.
No, the rook's on c2.
I meant b2.
b2, check. Okay, check again. Now the king has escaped. You allow the king to escape the windmill. So king is on c1 now, and now there's no more checks, right? So there's a much stronger move for black in this position. Anybody see it? Really strong move for black?
Rook takes b4.
Okay, rook takes b4 is one. That's actually not the strongest move. Why? Because rook takes b4, and now king moves to a2. Now, the thing is, we cannot continue the windmill here, right? Because you can't go, if you try rook b2 again, check. Now the rook has access and will capture your rook, and the windmill is over. So rook b2 looks like a free pawn, but it's actually helping white to escape the windmill. So you don't want to do that. So what's a better move than rook takes b4? What do you think?
What if it's like a variation of the last move that was done? You can move, the black can move its rook to c2.
C2 here? Okay.
Discovered check.
Okay, now what?
Now bring your bishop down to b2.
Bishop b2, and you lose your rook.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah, much better move. What do you guys think? Much better move. So look at this diagonal. This diagonal, the king is completely vulnerable, right? So this is a beautiful setup. Black has a discovered check. Anywhere the rook moves can attack anything, and white can't do anything about it because he'll be in check. So that's a very powerful technique. And so what do you think? What's the best thing for the rook to attack? What do you think?
So the rook can move to a2.
If you go to a2, he just takes your rook.
Darn.
Yeah. So we'll look on the board. The most, okay, so the two powerful pieces that white has is a rook and a bishop, right? So Monty gave the first possibility of attacking the rook, but that doesn't really work because the rook is protected, right? So you don't really win much. You do win a pawn, but that's not good enough. So we want to win something more than a pawn. So how about the bishop? Attack the bishop. So rook d2 attacks the bishop unprotected, and the king is in check and can do nothing about it, and you win an entire bishop. Right? Everybody see that?
Oh,
So beautiful.
well, now it's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Looks so easy.
right. So this is so in this position, black couldn't really do a windmill. So I guess okay, if you just wanted to see what a windmill is, this is the windmill. See, rook. Say this is just an example. Rook b3 and just go back. See, there's nothing that black can do or that white can do to escape this, right? So I mean, if we keep doing this, it's just going to be a draw by 3 or 4 repetition. But yeah, in this position, the best thing for black to do is to attack the most powerful unprotected piece, which would be the bishop on d5. So yeah, that's how you can do that. So for that reason, white does not want to allow black to do that. So for that reason, white goes a4, now creates an escape square for black. No longer is the windmill a possibility now. So rook takes b2, check, king a3. Okay, pawn takes on g5, pawn takes there. Now, as we said before, white's now threatening mate on h7, so black responds rook h2, defending against the mate. Rook takes b7. Black's pawn hurries to try to become a queen. Okay, rook takes a7. Okay, so now, what do you think the best move is here for white? What do you guys think? Best movement for white.
Pawn to g7.
Okay, so if we go to pawn g7, no. Bishop just
Okay,
takes.
forget that plan.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, the
Thanks, it makes me feel better.
It's okay. The bishop's doing a good job of defending, and also like these bishops are very centrally located, which is really good. They're exerting a lot of influence over the board, so they're performing their functions well. So what else? What else is a good move here for white?
Pawn to b5.
Okay, b5. All right, you can try that. Maybe black's gonna go g2 and try to go for queen himself. Probably it looks like the only way for white to stop is to sacrifice his bishop here. So we need something stronger than b5 because we don't want to sacrifice our bishop.
Rook to h7.
Okay, rook to h7. Good. That's the correct answer. Why is that the correct answer?
The king can't take the rook, and now you can come in with your bishop.
So now, well, now the rook is forced to capture. Rook takes h7, g takes h7, king takes h7. Now, that is the correct answer because in this position, after all those trades, black does have a passed pawn, but it can never reach there because the bishop is doing an excellent job of controlling the diagonal on g2. So the pawn can never go past, whereas these connected passed pawns are very powerful and cannot be stopped by a single bishop. So this is definitely a winning position for white, and also the fact that the king is so far away, he can just try to, he can try to push, but you got to use both pawns, and the king. If the king's here, king can help as well, and the pawns will promote pretty easily. So yeah. All right. So yeah, so that's in the series. That's how the game progressed. But the real game, I'll just show you real quick. I got a few minutes. I'll just show you the real quick. This is what really happened. So h5 was not played, right? This is in the real game. Rook e2, king b3, rook takes b3, king a4. Okay. So now bishops of opposite colors, right? Okay. So now, as you can see, black is down one pawn, but it's very difficult to win because we said bishops opposite colors, very easy to draw. So all black has to do is trade off the bishops. Trade off the rooks, and then trade off one pawn for one pawn, and then white has one pawn left, and all black has to do is trade off that pawn. You could just sacrifice it for the bishop, and it's going to be a draw because you cannot mate with just one bishop, right? So easy way to draw here. So let's just go through this whole game. It's pretty quick. All right. All right. So they just traded the last two pawns. So now black is very happy. All he has to do is be a little bit careful not to lose his bishop. Okay. So yeah, white's trying to do a lot of stuff, maneuvering, trying to get his pawn down there. Yeah. Check. Yeah, here, I mean, even, yeah, there. Yeah, now it's a draw. Yeah, because the pawn will have to be lost. So now the pawn's being attacked twice. Rook goes check, and now king can just come c7, and now pawn can't even move forward because the rook will be lost. So let's say the rook has to go over here, take, and now rook and bishop versus rook and bishop, definitely a draw, right? So yeah, they did a nice improvement on that game. So yeah, what do you guys think of that game? Interesting.
It was interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So actually, I still have one more game to go through with you guys. It's the last game between Harman and Borgov, right? In the final episode, right? For the World Championship, which was also based on a real game as well. So we can do that next week, right? What do you guys think? Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Any questions, by the way, before we sign off?
Just one quick one.
Yeah.
I got the email, and I'm sure everyone else did, about the upcoming classes.
Yeah.
Are you going to be teaching any of them?
Oh, you mean the winter and spring one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been contacted by Evan. I mean, he usually contacts me if there's a lot of people and he needs help or extra instructors, then he contacts me. But I wouldn't mind if you guys put in a good word. if you said, I want Daniil, if you said that, I wouldn't complain.
Well, I would be happy to put in a good word if you give me a passing grade.
Hey, you're all great students in my book, so I really enjoy teaching you guys. Yeah, I enjoy teaching you guys. Very enjoyable class. I noticed a very palpable difference between teaching kids and teaching adults. It's even if the kids are on the same, around the same rating level as you guys, but it's nice to have like when you have kids, parents are always around their kids and having kid conversations, and I meet other families and I meet the parents, and they're like, it's so nice to have an adult conversation. Because you're always having little conversations with kids, and it's fun and everything, but at the same time it's nice to teach adults as well. So I definitely enjoy.
I thought you were going to say the kids are sharper.
I mean even if they are sharper, at the same time they're still kids, so so I love the kids as well, but it's definitely a different dynamic teaching adults, right? So
what you're saying is we use bigger words.
yeah, I can create analogies with you guys by referencing my marriage that I can't use with the kids. Is what I'm saying. I can't reference what was it Benny Hill that I mentioned, and Robin Williams in my lectures, so so the analogies are different, So yeah, I would love to teach that. So is it how is he structuring that? Is it once a week, or is it a couple of lectures a week? Do you know?
Well, the next one is going to have rookie beginners or beginner rookies, and then beginner novice or something like that.
Okay.
So I was going to send an email and say, which program should we be going into beginners, or should we be going into intermediates?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to find out what he'd have to say.
So you said beginner rookies and beginner novices.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty similar to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to teach you guys again. So, and you know, we have by no means exhausted the chess concepts. Just touching the surface here. Yeah.
All right. We'll count on at least one good word.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, if you guys email Evan, say, you know, I like Daniil's style. I would love to be taught by him again. That'd be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah, definitely make that 3 for me.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
6.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, so we all passed the course.
Definitely. Great. So, all right. So we'll see you guys next week for the 13th week. And we'll do the final game of the Netflix series. Maybe we'll do the last week we'll do the windmill. Right.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds
cool.
like a cool thing to teach you guys. All right, awesome.
Okay.
So good seeing you guys again.
You too.
All
Have a good
right.
week, and
Hope you
thank you
guys-
for the good program.
Yeah, you're
it was
welcome.
great.
No problem. You're welcome. And yeah, so have a good week and have a good night.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Take care.
Well,
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.